perfect. Welcome to the Dangerous Divas podcast. I'm super excited to come at you today with a awesome episode, and this is a new one for us. We're going to be doing interviews once a month, and today we're going to talk with Leonila, who is a registered dietitian. Now she's an online nutrition vegan coach, and at the end of 2019, actually, she created her company called Fueled by Leo, which is a nutrition consultant practice. So Leonila has been a dietitian for over 5 years. She's a vegan for over 15. She's a mom of 2 boys, so she knows what it's like to be super busy all the time. And she works with mom as well, obviously. Her motto is to empower women to self-care and to self-love through nutrition. Hence the creation of her program being called the Fit Vegan Mom System. And actually, this is really, really cool. In the Fit Vegan Mom System, her sister Maria is a personal trainer, a certified personal trainer, and herself with Leonila have created a program with 3 different fundamentals to help mom reach their nutrition, their fitness goals, without dieting, without spending long hours in the gym, just like we do with our program as well, while also addressing mental health, stress, sleep, and everything that's about fitness journey. So welcome, Leonila. I'm super excited to have you here. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you so much for that awesome introduction.
Oh, you're so welcome. Do you want to add anything about it or?
No, I think that captures pretty much it, what we do and who we are and who our target is. So.
Yeah, for sure. And how did you get started into going from a dietitian to online? Like what sparked? What happened?
So when I created my company in 2019, prior to the pandemic, I said, this is going to be my year. I partnered with a psychologist to have an office with her to see inpatient, in-person clients. And then the pandemic hit. And so I was freaking out because, you no contact. And I said, okay, what are we going to do, right? We have a business. And luckily, and I'm thankful that I have a clinical job. And so that was going on. But I created this company, right? So wanting to grow it. So that's when I started looking into, okay, how can I still reach people? How can I still reach women without having to do that one-on-one or in person?
Right.
And so that's how we went into online.
That's awesome. And just so you guys know, we are in the same mastermind for our business. So that's how we met too, which is pretty cool because it's a cool mastermind to be a part of. But, I think it's really cool. And the pandemic actually helped you grow, right? Like it helped you go full on online rather than being in person.
Yes, absolutely. That's we can say that is one of the positive things about a pandemic or this pandemic, that it has allowed us to do that. And just when we think about reaching out more people, right, being able to offer what we offer, not only locally, but a long distance and virtually.
I always say that all the time. I'm like, well, I wouldn't know you and I wouldn't know you and I wouldn't know you because if I was just local, which we have a mixed martial arts school local, it's so different, right? Like you can only reach certain amount of people when there's people all around the world that might need your help, and you can actually help them online, which is the coolest thing ever.
Yes, I agree with that.
Nobody needs to count reps, so I'm just saying, like, right? Like you don't need somebody going 1, 2. No.
Right. Yeah.
That's a nice part for sure. Cool. Well, before we get started with anything crazy about vegan and nutrition, can you tell us why and when did you start being a vegan?
Yes, of course. So I actually started as a vegetarian when I was maybe 13, 14 years old. And so, I was born in Mexico and I went to school there up to grade 8. And so when I was there, I was in an agricultural school. And so we had to learn how to prepare food, like from farm to fork, right?
That is so cool.
I thought so too. So there was a class that was food industrialization. And I said, yeah, I get to see how food is made and all those things. But at the same time, we also had to witness how animals will slaughter. And so they would take us to like certain, yeah, they're not so fun part of it. So one time they needed to slaughter a pig, right? And so they were going to use the gun that they usually use for the pigs, and apparently the gun wasn't working. So they decided to take the pig into the field, and then they had to kill the poor pig with a sledgehammer. So that was very traumatic. Even until now, like
I was gonna say,
my voice shivering. So just sometimes those images come to my mind, and the cry of the pig and things like that. So since then, I decided like this is not okay. Like we don't have to eat animals because, or they don't have to suffer because we want to eat them.
Right. Yeah.
So you can imagine growing in like a cultural background. My mom wasn't very happy. That she told me, "What are you doing? This is crazy. You're gonna die." So it was challenging because we don't know what we don't know, right?
Right.
So she would try to like hide meat in like my food, and I would like find it, and I would tell her, "Mom, it's okay. I can cook myself. You don't have to make my food. Please don't hide the meat in my food."
Right.
And I understand that, she's a mom. Now that I'm a mom, I understand that you're concerned about your children, right? You want them to grow healthy and strong. So she saw that I needed meat to do that.
Well, yeah, I hide vegetables, but not meat.
Right. Yeah. So it's that was back then, and I was still eating yogurt and some egg whites. And then as I got older, I just decided, I don't need to have these foods. I didn't know much about being vegetarian or being vegan because this is years ago, 20 years ago or so. Right. So veganism, plant-based was not a thing yet. Right. So now that it is, I can absolutely see the huge change.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's crazy how much it's changed over the years. Like before, somebody that was vegan was looked in like a wrong way type of. Now it's like it's normal, it's good, and it's okay. Like, yeah, we grew up. I mean, I grew up. I'm French, so I grew up too with very like cultural things. So I can only imagine what your mom went through, like going insane. Especially in Mexico, you eat chicken like every day.
Absolutely. Chicken, beef. Like, what are you doing? Fish.
Right. Oh man. That's awesome. That's really cool. And does your family follow what you do kind of? Like now that you have a family?
Yes. So I try to the cook in the home. And so it is really up to me. I mean, I take into account, what my children want, and like if they want to try something. I do believe that in the end it's going to be their choice, right? I cannot tell them, oh no, you cannot have that, because I do believe that restriction can lead to obsessing about something. And so in the end, it's going to be about what they decide to do when they grow up.
Yeah. And do you still make them try chicken and meat or anything like that, or you just leave it up to them?
I usually just leave it up to them.
Okay.
To decide. Yeah, my husband is not vegan, so if they want to try something that dad is eating, gotcha. I'm not. I don't say don't do it.
Right.
There's also that will also affect their mental health, right? When you think, okay, mom is doing that, but dad is not. It's just a whole different thing. So they can decide that when they get older.
Yeah. How old are they now?
So one will be turning 5 and the other one is 17 months. So they're still little.
Oh, very little. Yeah. They still don't understand everything. They just eat whatever's given to them, which is great. Good for you. Because we struggle with vegetables. Like getting any type of vegetable into his diet is like almost impossible. So I do get like what do you call it? Like meat replacements, like the plant-based burgers and the plant-based chicken. I know I'm not the best at it. I'll eat some chicken. I'm not a fan of chicken, but like I do replace that for him, and he's come to the point that he's noticed. So now it's getting harder, but I've done that for a long time, and it helps. Getting the vegetables. You need vegetables into your diet, whether you're vegan or not. Like you definitely need it. So
Absolutely.
pretty cool. Awesome. So this is a huge one that I'm wondering myself. What is a commonly held belief about vegan and that lifestyle that you personally disagree with?
That's a good one. Yeah, that you have to eat tons of protein, and that comes to with the question of like, do you eat enough, right? But a lot of the times I do have that misconception that, hey, you need tons of protein to be healthy, and that is not the case. It's just we do need a little bit more just for bioavailability and how much we process and all that, but it's not that you need significantly a greater amount of protein.
Right. Yeah, I know. I did a bodybuilding show last year, or sorry, this year in March. So I was prepping from last August until March, and the amount of protein I have eaten is disgusting. Like 200 grams a day.
Oh my God.
Right. It was disgusting. So it's gotten to the point that chicken tastes horrible. And I made a huge mistake. It's myself. I drank egg whites out of the box. So that was disgusting. So I'm never doing that again. And I can never see egg whites again. So I guess it's a good thing. I'll eat it again. Yeah. I think you don't need that much protein, but it is important too, obviously.
Absolutely. Yes.
A lot of people believe that when you're vegan or when you're vegetarian, you're not getting enough protein, right? Compared to the ones that are not eating that way. What would you say, and what would you suggest to replacing these protein foods with? So like, how would you replace chicken or beef or all this stuff?
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's an awesome question, because I do get that. I think that the very first thing I get when I said, oh, I'm vegan, where do you get your protein from? And it's, it's okay to ask, right? Because you are curious. I'm hoping that is the case. But honestly, everything that we eat has some sort of protein. It might have a very small amount, but everything that we eat has some sort of protein. And so as long as we are eating a variety of foods, and the proteins that are going to come from a vegan diet are going to come from like your nuts, your beans, tofu, seitan, tempeh, are going to be higher in protein. What else? Protein powder, if that is something that you need to supplement, because maybe you're wanting to add a little bit more protein. Let's see, soy milk has a pretty good amount of protein as well.
Awesome. Which protein powder do you use that's vegan? Because I have tried plenty and they all taste so bad.
Yes, I have to agree with that. So the one that I have been using is Orgain, and I'm not a rep, or I'm not like, I don't get any discounts, but I've been using Orgain for quite a while, and I like it. It's fine. What's the other one?
I've tried so many and it tastes like straight up grass. Like it's not even good. It's like, I don't mind drinking grass, but like, I don't know, those were like, no.
Right. Yeah. And some of them do taste funky. I think that's the only one that I tried. I think, okay, it's not super, super strong.
Yeah.
But they are packed with tons of like vitamins and minerals, so you are going to have little
Right.
bit of odd flavor to it.
Oddness to it. Cool. When did you know you wanted to help other moms and women get in the best shape of their life and the healthiest?
After I had my first son, so about 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago. So I've been active, most of my life. But after I had my son, I feel so when I was pregnant, I had like these comments, and maybe you did too, that, once you have your baby or once you get pregnant, your body is never going to be the same and you're never going to lose the baby weight. And I thought, I said to myself, that can be, it's really up to like how we look at nutrition, how we look at our bodies, and how our bodies are able to transform and change. Because if they are able to transform to have a baby and carry a baby, they should be able to transform back to not having a baby.
I really agree. For sure.
So, yeah. So I think that's what, after I had my baby, that's when I said, okay, I want to prove to myself that I'm able to get back in shape and I'm able to be healthy and feel confident and feel good. Not so much like, okay, I want to hit this weight goal, right? But I just want to feel comfortable in my body and feel good about it.
That's awesome. And then from there, you kind of just went into like teaching other people.
Right. Yes. So it's a process, right? Finding out what you're gonna like, what the things you're gonna use. But my sister has always been my trainer. So
That's so cool.
she told me, yeah. So if anything that she tells me to do in terms of fitness, I do it. And, I'll take care of the nutrition part, but she's the one that tells me, hey, here's your plan, follow it. Tell me how you feel, and if we need to change anything. So
so awesome.
That's what I did.
Right. Yeah. And then with your nutrition, it just blossomed by itself. That's awesome.
Right.
Cool. Are most of your clients vegan?
No, I have a mix. So I have a few vegan clients, and then I have a few clients or moms that are non-vegan. And even when they come to me, right, they say, okay, we're not vegan, but I want to see if we are able to work together. And so I do allow them to do that.
Awesome.
And then if they decide to try 1 or 2 vegan recipes or meals, and that's totally awesome too.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't say I'm vegan because I do like my cheese and I do like my milk. Hence being French. But I do, since the bodybuilding event, I have been eating a lot less meat just because I eat so much of it that it just got gross. Like anything about it just sounds gross, tastes gross. I don't know. It's, it was just too much. And since then I've been replacing like tofu and stuff, but I need your tips because tofu, I think I'm doing it wrong. Every time I do it, it does not taste like what I've tasted in restaurants. It's really bad.
Right, yeah. There's different textures, right? And then there's different brands. And believe it or not, there's no one tofu that is going to be the same as a different brand. So it's just a matter of finding
the right
one, the tofu that you are going to
Gotcha. Yeah, I only tried one, and I was like, I think something's wrong with me. Cool. So what are some tips you would recommend for somebody that just wants to start eating vegan or vegetarian, like start going down that path?
If it's a person, a brand new, something that you want to do and you have never done it, starting slow, I always recommend, hey, let's focus on one meal at a time. And then let's get that meal down and make sure that you're comfortable and you're ready to maybe replace another meal. And if that is not the case, and maybe we have to go back to, okay, maybe let's start with one day at a time, but like meatless Mondays, where you eat a meatless meal on that day. And then once you have, once you're able to explore different days or different meals, then you can move forward that way. And the other thing too is getting some good recipes, right, that you're able to do, because if you don't have a plan, that can be very difficult. You won't be able to follow through. So
Right. You're
that's
setting yourself
definitely
up for failure.
right.
Yeah, no, you definitely want to have a plan. I think that's so important. Like starting slow, just not just being with vegan or anything, but like with anything, you want to start slow. You don't want to go from 0 to 100, because then it's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be something you're going to do forever, because you have no idea how to sustain that, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. And I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So do your clients usually start with like breakfast and then they'll go from there? Like they'll slowly increase that?
Yes, I actually give them the choice. So I ask them which is the easiest meal that you would be able to change, that
Oh,
would be like a no-brainer. You can say, I can do that meal, no
right.
problem. We usually start with that meal. A lot of the times it's breakfast. If they're not like huge breakfast fans, so it's usually an easy meal to
Right.
replace.
Yeah. I feel like that would be the easiest for sure. Cool. So, what are some tips that you would say to moms that are trying to get that type of lifestyle added into their kids' way of eating? Like, how did you do it?
So our kids learn by exposure and they learn by modeling, right? So if we do something, even if we think that they're not watching or they're not listening, they are.
It's
They are.
scary.
Yeah. They're like, oh, they're just playing, but they are absolutely listening and watching everything that we do. So they are going to model what you do. So let's say if you're wanting to add some vegan meals, um, being more positive about it, or including them. I have found that if they are included in the process, they usually tend to be more receptive to that. So for example, okay, we're going to try this new vegetable or this new recipe, help me pick out the ingredients or help me chop something, or depending on their age, right,
Right.
they might be more receptive to accepting those foods. And then also how we react to them, right? Because if we make a food or a meal and we are having negative feelings about it, even if it was a one-time thing, and then maybe the next time that we make it is better, but if we said something negative about it, they usually are going to say, okay, no, I don't want it because that time you said it was, whatever. So it's just about, like I said, modeling and exposure, right? So the more that they are exposed to something, they will most likely are going to continue to try it and then be more receptive about it.
100%. How did you start with like soft foods that you like blended the vegetables and things like that, and then just introduced it that way?
With my first son, I actually just added them to his plate. I think that was the very first foods that he had, like tofu. I remember making him like tofu and chopped broccoli and some brown rice, and he would just pick it up and then eat it. So he grew up, eating those foods. So,
Right.
but if we're not starting that way, right, just adding like one little food at a time, or mixing it with other things, so at least they get those flavors in their mouth. So when they do eat it, they're like, oh, I recognize this flavor. They're safe to eat.
It's okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you're following the same kind of process with your youngest too?
Yes. So he loves tofu. So
That's awesome. That's really good. Like, oh my gosh, if I could get mine to eat tofu, whoa, we would break like a lot of things.
yeah.
Yeah. That would be an awesome thing for sure. Cool. Can you walk us through how to make a balanced vegan meal?
Yes, of course. So I think the first thing that I want to go over is like, what is a balanced meal, right? So with the way that I explain it to my clients, is a balanced meal is having different food groups, right? So we have fruits, vegetables, whole grains, protein, and high calcium foods. And then we have healthy fats. So the more food groups that we have, the better, because we're getting more nutrients, we're getting more nutrition that way.
Of course.
So when I create a balanced plate, so let's say I have lunch. One of my favorite meals is tofu stir fry, right? So it's just tofu, tons of vegetables, and brown rice. It's super simple. It takes me like 5-10 minutes max to make. And I can make a batch cooking and have it for like 3 days.
Being healthy doesn't take time.
Right. Yeah.
It does not take that long. Come on. 5 minutes for something that you eat for 3 days.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
Yeah.
And then we can just add like different spices, right? Like ginger or a little bit of aminos or something like that, just to add more flavor to food. So if someone tells me, oh, this doesn't have flavor, okay, let's figure out how to add flavor to a food, right? Herbs and spices are amazing at that. So adding those too. And then adding some avocado, we're wanting to add a little bit of like a healthy fat.
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a really good meal. Maybe that's what I did wrong with my tofu. Maybe. Just put it in the air fryer, but maybe I should have added spices to it or a taste. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And marinades are pretty good too. Like if you leave it overnight, it will come out more flavorful.
For sure. It soaks up everything. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a sponge. Very cool. Cool. Is there anything else that you want to add to drop more value about vegan tips, and tell us how they can find you as well?
Yeah. So, and we mentioned this already, right? If you're thinking about becoming vegan or plant-based, or you're wanting to explore it, definitely we said start slow, right? Start with one meal at a time, or one day of the day at a time. Give it time, just like anything, right? Anything new that you start or that you want to do, it will take some time to do. Consistency and not giving up. So I think that's my number one tip. Don't give up.
I agree. Be consistent with it, for sure.
Yes, definitely. And then you can find me on Instagram. My name is Leonila, LEONILA _vegan_coach. And then
I will
Facebook.
put it out in the links as well. Just
Very good. And yeah, those are the main platforms that I use: Instagram and Facebook.
Cool. And you're giving out a PDF, I believe, right?
Yes. So I have a lunch on the go PDF for with vegan recipes, and then a high protein smoothies as well.
Yeah, you guys have to check that out. That sounds really good, actually.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for dropping on the podcast with me. It was a pleasure having you. It was awesome. You definitely helped, I think, a lot of people out with just starting out, and just people that are curious maybe about vegan and, everything about it, because you taught me a lot already. So that was awesome.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate you having me over. It was fun. Thank you so much.
Of course. I'll talk to you soon.